Listen here. There's nothing too hard for God. Today we declare that impossible is easy for him. Anybody believe that today? Say, oh. Hey, yeah. Sing it again. Say, oh. Let's celebrate Jesus in here. Come on, you ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, shout!
I don't march to a drum, but your heart is the kick, and I'm only the reverb. So whatever you say, I'm your echo effect. I'm your echo, I'm your reverb. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Trying to build a box, got a 4x4, trying to fit me in. Man, I'ma need more, got a 6x6, 10x10, just give me 16, I'ma drop you in. I'm a girl on a beat, try to be an MC, but we all know I make pop CDs. I can drop a beat big like I'm cool, but I was homeschooled. I can write a song, but can't right my wrongs. I'm a broken vessel like the rest of y'all. My heart is heavy, my boots are scuffed. Truth is real talk, I'm not enough. I can't be myself, cause I'm not my own. LA, Atlanta ain't my home. I belong to the king who gave his life, and every day might be my last night. So I stand up, shoulders back with confidence. I told the world that never gonna be as good as we think, so raise a voice and be a free bird. I don't march to a drum, but your heart is the kick, and I'm only the reverb. So whatever you say, I'm your echo effect. I'm your echo, I'm your reverb. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da
Okay, whenever you're ready.
For billions of people across thousands of years, when looking for truth, the answer's been in the Bible. But if you're anything like me, the Bible can be hard to get into because it's so big. It can feel intimidating to know where to start and understand what it all means.
There are a lot of questions that come to mind when you start reading. The good thing is that you're not alone. You have God's Spirit who will help interpret some hard things and speak to you through the words of the page. But you also have each other and different leaders along the way to help guide you along the path. And together over the next couple of months, we're going to embark on an amazing journey of reading and unpacking the story of God.
For followers of Jesus, if something's a big deal for him, it's a big deal for us. And Jesus loved the Bible. Sometimes I think that we have this idea that because Jesus is God, he just automatically had the scriptures downloaded into his brain. But that's actually not the case. Jesus spent a lot of time reading and studying the scriptures, so this is a chance for us to do the same.
But before we go too far in, we should introduce ourselves a bit. I'm Vince, I have an amazing wife, Melissa, a wonderful daughter, and I have way too many sneakers to count.
And I'm Shelby. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, but I live in Portland, Oregon with my husband, Jordan, and our dog, Cass.
Now, in every session, we want to give you a chance for conversation with each other. But I thought maybe we should start it off. So, Shelby, is a burrito a sandwich?
No, man, it's a burrito. It's not a sandwich. It's wrapped up in a tortilla.
Okay, I feel like you feel pretty strong
I feel
about
pretty
that.
strongly
Yeah,
about it. It's a
okay,
burrito.
very good.
Okay, Vince, if you were any Disney princess, which one would you be?
Oh, that's a good question. Since I think I only know one Disney princess, I'm gonna go with Cinderella.
Oh, okay, why Cinderella?
Because I only know one Disney princess.
Okay, now you ask me.
Okay, Shelby, if you could be a Disney princess, which one would you be?
I'm for sure gonna say Mulan, because she's fierce. I think she's just the best. So now it's your turn. Take the next few minutes and chat about the question on your screen.
I've never really met famous people, but I've heard that most famous people are normal. Like, they're not really different than you would think.
I've never met anyone famous. I would like to meet Finn Wolfhard. Yeah.
Yes.
My cousin was in the latest Transformers as a private military contractor.
I actually met Dave Franco at my work last weekend.
shorter than I thought, but he's a cool guy.
I've met Damian Lillard, and he was really sick. Like, he was just so chill and just like a regular person, like nothing like too famous, if that makes sense.
Doug Ducey sits behind me in mass sometimes.
Have I met anybody famous?
You're related to someone who's famous?
My brother. And he became like TikTok famous. He's kind of stayed the same. He didn't change. He's just like good. Because I feel like a lot of people let that kind of go to their heads, and he didn't.
Biff's daughter from Back to the Future, and she is exactly who I thought she would be, and she is just the sweetest soul I've ever met.
We've built these sessions around videos created by the Bible Project. If you're not familiar with them, they make these incredible animated videos so that you and I can better understand the Bible. With over 3 million subscribers on YouTube and growing daily, the Bible Project is an amazing tool that we can use to grow in our faith. Super thankful that they let us use some of their videos they've made to help us understand one of the best stories in a whole collection of books that make up the Bible. It's called Luke. Luke is in the second half of the Bible known as the New Testament. It's sometimes called the Gospel of Luke, which just means the good news that Luke wanted to tell us.
But before we jump into the first 2 chapters of Luke, here are a couple things to know. The book got its name from the author, Luke, who was a doctor that traveled with some of the early Christian leaders. Luke was super observant, and he paid close attention to everything that was happening around him. The news about Jesus was spreading fast from city to city and even internationally.
Luke starts the whole thing by telling us why he wrote it. He says, many people have set to write out the accounts about the events that have been fulfilled among us. They've used the eyewitness report circulating among us from the early disciples, having carefully investigated everything from the beginning. I have also decided to write an accurate account for you, so you can be certain of the truth of everything you were taught. So he wrote about what he was seeing and hearing so his readers could have confidence in what they heard about Jesus.
And I don't know about you, but one of the things that really stands out to me is that as Luke is telling this story, he includes a lot of historical facts about people and places. He wants his readers to understand who Jesus is and what he's done in the real world.
So whether you know a lot about the Bible and about Jesus or very little, I think you'll enjoy these videos and having a chance to talk about them. So let's check it out, Luke chapter 1 and 2, and explore the amazing events surrounding the birth of Jesus.
And just to let you know, in a couple of minutes, we're gonna pause and another question will come up on the screen for you to talk about as a group. Here's the Gospel of Luke, chapters 1 and 2.
The Gospel of Luke. Luke investigated many of the earliest eyewitnesses of the life of Jesus and then composed this account.
And the story begins up in the hills of Jerusalem, the place where Israel's ancient prophets said that God himself would come one day to establish his kingdom over all the earth.
In the city is the temple, run by the priests, and one of them, named Zechariah, was working in the temple when he had a vision that freaks him out. An angel appears and says that he and his wife will have a son. What's this all about?
Well, Zechariah and his wife, we're told, are very old. They've never been able to have children. And Luke's setting up a parallel here with Abraham and Sarah, the great ancestors of Israel, because they too were very old and could never have kids.
Yet God gave them a son, Isaac, which is how the whole story of Israel began.
And so Luke's implying here that God's about to do something that significant for this people once again.
The angel tells Zechariah to name the son John.
And then he says that this son's going to fulfill a promise of Israel's ancient prophets, that somebody would come one day to prepare Israel to meet their God when he arrived to rule in Jerusalem.
Because right now, Jerusalem is ruled by the Romans.
Yeah, specifically, it's governed by a man named Herod, who's a puppet king under the Roman Empire. And so the Jewish people wanted nothing more than to be free and govern themselves in their own land.
So this is shocking news. Everything's going to change. God's on his way. But how is he going to arrive?
Well, to find out, Luke takes us out of Jerusalem and then up into a small town in the hills of an out-of-the-way region called Galilee. And there we find a young woman named Maryam, or we call her Mary. She was engaged to be married.
And then an angel appears to Mary, saying that she's going to have a son.
She's supposed to name him Jesus, which in Hebrew means the Lord saves. And he will be a king like David, who will rule over God's people forever.
And then Mary asks, okay, well, how is this possible? Because I'm a virgin.
And she's told that the same Holy Spirit that brought life and light out of darkness in Genesis chapter 1 is going to generate life inside her womb. God is about to bind himself to humanity through the conception and the birth of the Messiah.
And so Mary goes from some backwoods no-name girl to the future mother of the king?
Exactly. In fact, she sings a song about how this reversal of her own social status points to a greater upheaval to come. Through her son, God's going to bring down rulers from their thrones and exalt the poor and the humble. He's going to turn the whole world order upside down.
I'm like trying to decide whether I'm gonna go like silly with it or like are we being like real serious about this? Go deep.
Oh my gosh. First thing I would do if I was queen.
There's always gotta be this side and this side, like the pizza side and the taco side. Like, why can't we all unite?
Give all kids a better life.
I'd make sure everyone had like a home. So I feel like that's so important, especially in like this world where stuff moves so quickly.
I would probably try to create peace and no more division.
Like I would want to make sure everybody like had the resources that they needed.
I think the first thing I would do would be put like drastic like limits on screen time as like for my generation, because I think my generation is being like severely influenced by their phones. And
I'd step down immediately. I would not be good at that. Oh, heck no.
If I was queen of just some new world and I could decide like whatever I want to do with it, I feel like the first thing I'll do is just make sure that in all aspects, in every sense, everyone is just like equal.
That's ironic as queen.
Yeah, right?
But yes, I agree with that.
Everyone for themselves. I don't know. Deal with it.
Just deal with it. Okay.
So when Mary was really pregnant, she and her fiance Joseph had to go down to Bethlehem.
Yeah, there was a decree across the Roman Empire about new taxes, and so everybody had to go get registered in the town of their family line.
There were so many visitors in Bethlehem, they can't find a guest room.
And so the only place they can find is a spot where animals sleep.
Now nearby were some shepherds with their flocks, and an angel appears, which of course freaks them out. But they're told to celebrate, because tonight in Bethlehem, a savior has been born.
Yeah, they're told to go and find this baby, and they'll know that it's the Messiah because he's going to be wrapped up and laying in a grimy feeding trough.
Yeah, which is pretty gross.
Totally. And then these shepherds, who aren't very clean themselves, they go and find the newborn Jesus in this really dingy place, and their minds are blown. They go home wondering what on earth is about to happen.
And this is all really strange. I mean, if God's really coming to save the world, this isn't how you would expect him to arrive. Born in an animal shelter to a teenage girl, celebrated by no-name shepherds.
Exactly. I mean, everything is backwards in Luke's story, and that's the point. He is showing how God's kingdom was first revealed in these dirty places among the poor, because Jesus is here to bring salvation by turning our world order upside down.
I love how that video ends with flipping the world upside down and elevating the king who was born in the middle of nowhere. Through the birth of Jesus, we see how God fulfills his promise to come into the world and make things right. But he did it in a way that no one was expecting, by coming as a baby.
Jesus arrives as the expected and long prophesied king, but the way he arrives was not what anyone expected. It was surprising in many ways, upside down, which is a sign of things to come.
When we read the Bible, we don't want to just leave it on the page. We actually believe that it can shape how we see and interact with the world around us. So as we're reading, it's always a good idea to try and imagine ourselves in the place and context of the people who would have been reading that book of the Bible that we're in.
So I don't know about you, but if I'm trying to imagine God sending a new ruler to come and save my people, change the country and make the world a better place, there are a few ways I see that play out. Maybe Jesus comes from a rich and powerful family, or maybe even a royal family. But probably last in that list is a young woman, her fiance shepherds in the feeding trough for animals.
Yeah, I think if we were to plan it all out today, it may look more like calling a list of leaders, celebrities, athletes, and influencers and asking them to get the word out. But getting shepherds to help is kind of like getting the local construction workers and the night shift security guards to be the first to see. It's upside down. Sometimes I wonder if the reason that God allowed Mary and Joseph to arrive in the city to find no room left except for where the animals slept was just so that the shepherds would feel right at home in the presence of a new king. It was unexpected and upside down, and I think Luke wants us to see that. God doesn't favor those who are considered successful or popular by the world or culture standards. Today too, even now in our schools and teams, we often prop up and celebrate the most talented, successful, or influential. But that's not how it works with God. He doesn't look at you and compare you to the people in your life, or even the person sitting next to you right now. He sees us all and he loves us. That's the difference. That's the difference that we see about how the kingdom of God works compared to the kingdoms of this world.
This is just the beginning. Through Luke's gospel, we are going to see Jesus in a whole new way and see the world and ourselves in a whole new way.
And at the end of each session, there's going to be a few more questions that come up on your screen for you to chat about as a group. But we also want to let you know that there are some really cool ways that you can go even deeper through this series if you want to.
So here are a few things you can do between now and the next time we meet. One, you can download the Bible app and look up the reading plans for Luke through Acts from the Bible Project. Two, join us this week in reading Luke chapter 1 through 2 and write down any notes or thoughts that you might have and share them next week. And lastly, number 3, check out more of the other Bible Project videos on YouTube or their Bible Project app. Each video builds out a greater picture of who God is through the Bible.
We are really looking forward to going on this journey with you. Take a few more minutes now to talk with your group, and we'll see you in the next session.
See ya.
I said, wow, I worship and say, just want to tell you, sing, I love you, Lord, I love you, Jesus, sing, I worship and adore you, just want to tell you, oh, Lord, I love you, yes, I do, sing, I love you, Jesus. Sing, I worship Him.